12 things you never knew about Italy. Now, I go to Italy often. I've been there about 53 times, and it amazes me how many things that are strange in Italy that aren't in other countries that people should know. I have been going to Italy for many, many years, and there are lots of mistakes that people make, like falling into tourist traps or overpriced cappuccino or bad gelato. Yes, there is bad gelato. It does exist. So when I visit Italy, I have friends who are going to Italy, I am keen to share some insider tips about what you can and can't and should do in Italy.
YoloAdventure, live your dreams, chase the sunsets, follow streams. One life, one chance, come explore. YoloAdventure, there's so much more. Dive in deep, climb up high, touch the stars, reach for the sky.
First of all, tipping is not required, and it can be even considered offensive. No, really, let me repeat. You don't need to tip in Italy. I tried explaining this concept to friends of mine, and they didn't believe me until they were in a restaurant and they left an extra $10 tip. The restaurant owner was running down the street chasing him, saying he forgot his change. Have an espresso in Italy, so standing at the bar is cheaper than sitting down. Have you ever noticed all the Italians standing at the bar drinking their cafes? That's because there's one base price for coffee and pastries and another price for table service if you sit down. So order your cappuccino al banco, and enjoy it standing up with the rest of the crowd and save some money. Life is too short to eat bad gelato. So how do you spot artisan gelato? High quality artisan gelato can only be stored for a few days. It's also a time-consuming process to make it, as I recently learned when I was in Italy. So some shops in Italy are beginning to sell industrial, mass-produced gelato instead of making it with traditional methods. Beware of the photo-worthy gelato bulging high from the container. That's a sure sign it was made from an artificial mix. The color of gelato should be muted, not brightly colored. Brightly colored gelato is another sign it is made with artificial flavoring and colors. The easiest trick is to check the banana gelato. If it's a grayish hue, it was made from real bananas. If it's a bright yellow, move on to the next gelateria. So if you see gelato that's piled high and very puffy, it's filled with air. It's not the real stuff. Remember, cash is king. For me, one of the biggest cultural differences I had to adjust to was always needing to have cash on me instead of relying on my credit or debit card. Credit cards still aren't widely accepted in Italy, but they are ubiquitous. Also good to know is you can't pay for anything under 10 euros with a credit or debit card in many establishments. Always have cash with you and have plenty of variety of notes. So if you present a 20 euro note for a $1 cappuccino, you'll be frowned upon. Another thing is don't walk off without the bill of receipt. Ever have the cashier thrust the receipt at you for your €2 gelato? There's a reason for that. The Guardia di Finanza, or the tax police, may stop you as you leave an establishment and ask you to present your receipt. The shopkeeper can be fined 2,500 euros if you can't produce it. So why all the fuss over this piece of paper? Taxes are expensive in Italy, and some shopkeepers skim off the top to avoid paying taxes. It is their responsibility to make sure you leave with your receipt. So always take your receipt and wait until you're at least 100 meters from the establishment before tossing it out. Speaking of fines, in Italy, the train or the bus or the Vaporato, the water bus in Venice, the ticket isn't considered valid. The machine time and date stamps your ticket so it can't be reused. Recently I was headed from Florence and had 1 minute to change trains. The validation machine said out of service, and I didn't have time to look for another machine if I was going to make the train. So I hopped on without a validation ticket. The conductor came around a few minutes later, and to avoid the €30 fine, made me get off at the next stop to validate my ticket. I was lucky they didn't make me pay the €30 fine, turning my €5 ticket into a €35 one. Don't assume you can buy your train or bus ticket on board. You're required to buy your train or bus ticket before boarding, which can be challenging when there isn't a ticket machine next to the stop. Instead, look for a tobacco shop to purchase your ticket. If you plan to travel on Sunday, purchase your ticket ahead of time. You'll save yourself time and stress on looking for an open tobacco on a Sunday. And don't forget to validate your ticket just before you get on board. Dressing appropriately is very important. Make sure you cover your shoulders and your knees when entering a church. Churches such as St. Peter's Basilica in Rome and the Duomo in Florence and St. Mark's in Venice have strictly enforced these dress codes. Basically, no bare shoulders, no midriffs, and no knees. And while there isn't a doorkeeper at every church in Italy, there are still places of worship that could be respectful when entering them, even though they're not monitored. My wife always carries a scarf that she can wrap around her shoulders or even use a sarong. There's a thing in Italy called riposo. Stores and business close for riposo, like an extended lunch hour, and generally between noon and 3 or 3:30. Store and business hours are set by the city, so opening times may vary from city to city. Don't touch without permission at markets. Visiting markets in Italy is something I highly recommend. Not only can you find the freshest and local produce, but you'll find clothes, cheeses, leather goods, and kitchen supplies, and more. But when visiting markets, keep your hands to yourself. Always ask permission to see something, and the vendor will wait on you attentively, getting you to the correct sizes or selecting your produce while wearing plastic gloves. If you visit a grocery store, you also notice plastic gloves in the produce section. Be sure to wear them when handling any produce. We all like pepperoni pizzas, but pepperoni means peppers. Ever ordered a pepperoni pizza only to be surprised when it arrived at the table? Pepperoni means sweet peppers in Italian, so if you want American pepperoni, order a pizza with salami picante or spicy salami. I hope you've enjoyed these little tips about Italy. It's one of the most revisited countries in the world, and it's always a delight to be there. Enjoy your travels, and we'll see you in the next video. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe, hit that notification bell, and give us a thumbs up, and we'll see you in the next video.
YoloAdventure, there's so much more.